have had personal information stolen. Plus, Florida is experiencing evacuations never seen before, and we'll take a closer look at how federal aid may be on the way for those affected by the hurricanes. And OU battles the Purdue Boilermakers tonight at 8, right now on Newswatch. We'll get to the Equifax data breach shortly, but for the first time since 2010, 3 active hurricanes are in the Atlantic, the closest forcing thousands of Florida residents to evacuate their homes. Hurricane Irma is expected to remain at least a Category 4 storm when it hits Florida on Sunday. Further west in the Gulf of Mexico, Hurricane Katia is expected to make landfall by early Saturday morning, and Hurricane Jose, now a Category 3 storm, is near the Leeward Islands. Good evening, I'm Chelsea Sick. Thanks for joining us. Florida officials are all saying one thing: get out and get to safety. People in the Sunshine State are getting out however they can. Travelers stood in line for hours at airports. Drivers waited at gas stations, some of which ran out of fuel. Cars are headed north and causing interstate backups and slowdowns.
This storm is wider than our entire state and is expected to cause major and life-threatening impacts from coast to coast.
Depending on Irma's path, the powerful storm could create one of the largest mass evacuations in U.S. history. For more on this storm, weather anchor Josh Gregory joins me now. Josh, just what are we looking at here?
We're looking at a record-breaking and catastrophic storm, Chelsea. And the question on almost everyone's mind right now: will Hurricane Irma get bigger? And when will it reach the U.S.? We'll take a look at this video from NASA. What you're looking at is the hurricane's eye, which is about 80 miles wide. And as you just heard, the storm itself is bigger than Florida. Yesterday, the storm was sustaining winds of 175 miles per hour. Today, it's dropped to about 150 miles per hour, down to Category 4, but it's still dangerous. It's expected to maintain a Category 4 or 5 status for the remainder of its path toward Florida, which experts could say happen in about 2 days. And here's the path Irma will take toward Florida. You're looking at NASA's weather satellite loop, which, just because Ohio isn't in Irma's direct path, we will witness the effects of this storm next week. I'll have more on what we can expect here in Southeast Ohio in my extended forecast, so stick with us. Back to you, Chelsea.
My thoughts are with everybody in the path of the storm. Thanks, Josh. An Ohio Air Force Base is providing shelter for military aircraft leaving the south because of Hurricane Irma. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton says at least 20 planes were expected to land at the base today. They say planes are coming from bases in Jacksonville, Florida, and Charleston Air Force Base in South Carolina. A West Virginia University professor developed a model for predicting flooding, something we could see a lot of again soon. Assistant Professor of Environmental Engineering Omar Abdul-Aziz says scientists have mostly focused on collecting data and developing models to predict flooding in coastal areas through storm surges. He also says this is the first model of its kind in the nation and may help predicting and potentially preventing some of the flood damage Hurricane Irma will leave along the East Coast. West Virginia's Department of Health and Human Resources is accepting applications for food assistance from northern counties affected by July flooding. The Disaster Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program benefits are available to residents who lived or worked in Harrison, Marion, Marshall, and Wetzel counties. According to the department, the program extends special one-time benefits to households typically ineligible for food assistance, but with a sudden need from the disaster. The applications will be accepted through Tuesday. West Virginia's Attorney General says more than 730,000 consumers in the state could be affected by the Equifax data breach. Atlanta-based Equifax says hackers exploited a U.S. website application and gained access to the files of 143 million Americans between May and July of this year. The personal data included birthdays, addresses, names, and social security numbers. Attorney General Patrick Morrisey says consumers should watch their bank accounts and credit card accounts and strengthen their passwords. Robert L. Anderson Jr. of the Plains is in the hospital after being shot in the abdomen last night.
We believe it was a dispute. There's no need for the public to have any concerns, reference any kind of danger to the public. So we think this investigation concluded any kind of danger. So we feel that there's no danger to the public right now.
46-year-old James J. Holland shot Anderson on Pine Street. Anderson is still at Grant Medical Center in critical condition. James Holland was arrested and charged with felonious assault and is being held at the Southeastern Ohio Regional Jail on a $50,000 bond, according to court and jail records. The Employment Services Division of the Athens County Board of Developmental Disabilities is moving to the market on state. The agency has taken its employment services to the next level with this move and with the creation of the Employment Options Division. Employment Options Director Doug Mitchell said in a release that he is incredibly proud of the transformation in the division. Superintendent Kevin Davis said this will better serve the employment needs of individuals with disabilities.
Welcome back to the Newswatch Weather Center. Josh Gregory here, and let's take a break from some of this Irma news that we're seeing, and let's look at some local news. We have 70-degree temperatures here and clear skies. That's something to be pretty happy about, and it feels pretty good. 42% humidity, so it doesn't feel too hot, but the temperature is really nice. And that's something we're going to see a lot of in our area. If you look around our region, 70 degrees in Athens. It gets a little cooler up in Columbus and Newark because of that cloud coverage, but overall, temperatures are pretty nice right now and are supposed to stay that way for the remainder of the weekend. But let's look at our Friday night football forecast. 48 degrees, going to be pretty chilly by halftime. Clear skies, though, and calm conditions, so it should be some excellent temperatures for some football. I'm excited to see how that goes. And like I said, we're not going to see some of that Irma action for a little bit. So here in Athens, we're sitting pretty. All right, Chelsea, back to you.
Thanks, Josh. Ohio is still in an uproar days after the Trump administration's decision to end DACA. Immigration advocates gathered in Cleveland yesterday evening, calling support of continued protections for undocumented immigrants brought to the U.S. as children. Frank Wiley reports.
A vibrant tapestry woven by diversity and inclusion.
We have the right to be here, right? We're Americans.
Some say life as they know it is being torn apart. Their pointed words aimed toward the president.
Would they come for me? Would they deport dreamers?
Jose Mendez came to America when he was just 7. To him, Mexico is foreign. Hundreds gathered on Market Square Park to pressure leaders to let them remain at home. Nearly 800,000 young immigrants may lose protection. It's up to Congress.
I'm actually a DACA student, so I'm actually attending college right now.
I'm a security guard. I protect American citizens.
As best they can, some citizens stand for them.
I really care about this.
Brings you to tears?
So unfair to send it back.
Marge Townsend is 89 now. She recalls witnessing deportations, families torn apart. President Trump's administration announced that it is rescinding DACA, overturning President Obama's signature immigration policy.
We're not like that. Americans aren't like that. We're not that mean.
With the help of America, Marge still sees a flicker of good.
The White House says officials will keep renewing work permits for DACA recipients whose status expires in the next 6 months. That gives Congress time to come up with a legislative fix. A wildfire in Oregon shuts down parts of a highway, and states along the Atlantic coast are preparing for Hurricane Irma. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat Pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
Hey everybody, I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, this is it. And she said, the tour's just started. I said, no, you don't understand. This is it.
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students. My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything. Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
At least 35 people are dead after an earthquake struck Mexico late Thursday night. The quake had an 8.1 magnitude and has left more than 100 people injured in the state of Chiapas alone. Mexico City's architecture appears to have contributed to the high number of injuries. Many buildings in the area are made of thick, unreinforced masonry walls with timber roof beams. A raging wildfire in Oregon is forcing officials to close 75 miles of an interstate this weekend. Fire officials are concerned about falling rocks and hazardous trees crashing into traffic. The Eagle Creek fire has so far burned more than 33,000 acres. Only 7% of the fire is currently contained. Residents living near the nation's highest concentration of petrochemical plants are feeling the effects of Hurricane Harvey in their air quality. After Harvey crashed into the area, Houston recorded the highest ozone pollution of the year in Texas. Petrochemical plants and refineries reported over 680 metric tons of extraordinary emissions over 8 days, beginning August 23rd in Harris County. People have complained of headaches, nausea, itchy skin, and throats. Plants are racing to burn off compounds that could combust in extreme weather or power loss. Time is running out for Floridians prepared to face or flee Hurricane Irma. But is the money to help also running out? FEMA resources are dwindling as Congress scrambles to send billions more to the agency. Stacey Cohan reports.
Incredible images out of the Caribbean offer a frightening preview of Irma's power. The massive storm will impact Florida and possibly Georgia and the Carolinas. It comes on the heels of Hurricane Harvey in Texas, which has sapped federal disaster relief money.
We're not going to let money and paperwork get in the way of us leaning forward. This is a life safety mission, and we're not going to stop.
FEMA is running out of its yearly appropriation. If we do not pass this now, FEMA will not be able to enter into obligations regarding Harvey or Irma or, again, possibly Jose.
On Friday, the House passed emergency disaster funding for FEMA. That brings the total for disaster relief funding to more than $15 billion just this week.
People on their smartphones are quickly applying for their FEMA relief. And those applications are being approved, and that money's going out the door at such a faster pace than we'd ever experienced before.
But will it be enough? How much more can the government spend?
We're going to have to go back, I'm sure, for additional resources as these storms continue to hurt our states and our citizens. But for now, we're taking a responsible course of action.
For now, the Trump administration says they will focus on saving lives, no matter what the cost.
When the time comes, we will restore, recover, and rebuild together as Americans.
In Washington, I'm Stacey Cohan reporting.
More than 1 million Florida residents have been ordered to evacuate their homes. And in financial news, here's a look at stocks of local interest.
Disney World is looking pretty nasty right now with those hurricane storms, but I'm going to give you a look at what our weekend holds and some of those conditions we'll see later on.
professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open. You can go to them with pretty much anything. Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us. Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Hey everybody, I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night, live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
Disney World officials say their Orlando parks will be closed on Sunday and Monday for safety concerns regarding Hurricane Irma. Disney resorts and hotels will remain open, but services and amenities will be adjusted. Prepaid dining and premium experiences will be canceled and refunded. For all other cancellation, guests are asked to call guest services for their refund. The parks are expected to reopen on Tuesday, but officials say they will provide regular updates.
Welcome back to the Newswatch Weather Center. Josh Gregory here, and it's hard to see some place that's so happy go through some of those conditions, but here in Athens, 70 degrees, so we're pretty happy right now with that. Clear skies, calm winds, it's looking pretty good for us, and not just here, but throughout our region. 70 in Athens, and if you look, 67 in Columbus, and it's a little cooler up here, but a little warmer down here. We'll see those drop pretty soon, though. 48 in Athens, so it's going to get down pretty cold. Upper 40s, a little lower 50s down in Ironton and Ripley. And so if you look at our almanac today, you see that we're right about where we want to be. 70 degrees, nothing too warm, nothing too cold. Even our low is right about where we want to be. I wouldn't want to see those 96-degree temperatures today. That would be a little brutal. Summer is over, but look at this. We have Hurricane Irma, and this is a map of Florida and the precipitation that we are experiencing and we're going to experience. It's going to be pretty heavy. Experts say this could rival Harvey floods or even past them. And these wind speeds are no joke either. And this is what we're seeing in a few days. This is going to be the wind speeds going down. This is about 150 miles per hour. And experts say it could reach Category 5 by the time it hits the southern coast. And you'll be experiencing those all the way up in Tennessee. And look at its path. This is Hurricane Harvey as we're going to see it Sunday at 8 a.m. as it reaches coastal Florida, but it's going to make its way through, the interior of our, even up to some parts of the Midwest in Indiana and Kentucky and a little bit of Ohio. We should be pretty good here, but we are going to experience some of those rain showers. But tonight, pretty cool temperatures throughout. 55 degrees, partly cloudy. We're just going to see those temperatures a little decrease. Nothing major, clear skies, no clouds. It's going to be great. And for those who are doing Saturday morning chores, 57 degrees tomorrow. It's going to be a little foggy, but it's going to make it a little cooler. So if you're getting out and mowing the lawn, I'd say 9 a.m., 10 a.m. would be a great time for that. And this is how you want to plan your day. 66 degrees, 68 degrees, 70 degrees as we go through our day. Irma, who? We're not going to be experiencing some of that until next week, and this is what you're going to see. 70 degrees tomorrow. Going to be pretty good, and that's going to be our temperatures throughout the area. Lower 70s, upper 60s. And this is where we're going to see some of that Irma coming in. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. That's when we're going to see some of those showers hit. We have a chance for thunderstorms on Tuesday and Wednesday. But as we dip into next week, Thursday and Friday, it's going to be a pretty nice week yet again.
Hello everyone, I'm Steven Hernandez for Sports. Hurricane Irma is forcing Florida to cancel several sporting events. Find out which ones will be postponed and which ones will be canceled indefinitely. Also stick around to hear the story of Nathan Rourke, a championship-winning Canadian football player who has brought his talents to Athens in search for American glory. And stay tuned to WOUB. Here's what's coming up tonight on your local public television station.
I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night, live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open. You can go to them with pretty much anything. Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Welcome back, I'm Steven Hernandez. Several Florida sporting events have been canceled or postponed due to concern over Hurricane Irma. The potential Category 5 hurricane has forced schools and organizations to drop games in order to focus on citizen safety. Some games have been canceled less than 24 hours before kickoff. In NCAA football, Florida State, the University of Florida, the University of Miami, the University of South Florida, and the University of Central Florida have all canceled their football games for this weekend. And in the NFL, the in-state matchup between the Miami Dolphins and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers has been pushed back to Week 11, as both teams will shift their bye weeks to Week 1. Both the Tampa Bay Rays and the Miami Marlins in Major League Baseball are playing away from home, so their series will continue as scheduled.
After a journey that covers 2 countries, 3 states, and nearly 2,800 miles, Nathan Rourke has finally arrived.
Just running out of that tunnel for the first time with, smoke and the band and all those people and stuff like that, that really kind of culminated, as you said, a crazy journey.
The Canadian quarterback began his career in his home country, where he led a championship campaign in 2014. Defenders from Alabama and Kansas drew the short stick of having a plan for Rourke his next 2 years. And the accolades were there. Undefeated seasons, more championship trophies, but the descriptions from scouts didn't seem to match up. They said he was unwanted, untested, and most notably, underexposed. The exposure picked up immediately in Rourke's first game in the green and white. He shined under the bright lights, racking up over 120 total yards and rushing in 3 touchdowns.
He makes good decisions too, and he's a good running quarterback. And
and so we kept the ball on the ground.
Athens looks to be the final stop in Rourke's international football tour.
It was just great to get out there and kind of get into a rhythm of things, and yeah, hopefully this is just the building blocks for the future.
And after just one game, Bobcat fans are using different words to describe their newest playmaker: dynamic, game-changing, and a winner. Blake Baker, WOUB Sports.
A junior college transfer to MAC East Player of the Week, Nathan Rourke stepped on Ohio's campus in the spring as the most seasoned new football recruit. And just a few months later, he's making a name for himself on the gridiron while battling for a starting spot. Even after being named, now switching to baseball, the Indians are in incredible shape as they get their record 15 straight win with a win 11-2 over the White Sox. The Indians scored early and were 5 runs clear over Chicago in the third inning, allowing them to cruise their way into the history books. And on the mound, Corey Kluber threw 13 strikeouts to earn his 15th victory of the season, tying him for first place in the American League. The Indians will put their streak to the test tonight as they face against the Orioles. And sticking to baseball, the Cincinnati Reds lost their first game after a 3-game win streak in their series against the Mets. The Reds were on the board early, but the Mets responded with 7 unanswered runs, including back-to-back homers from Mets rookie Brandon Nimmo and Juan Lagares. The Reds' pitching was also below average last night. Rookie pitcher Tyler Mahle gave up 6 hits and 3 earned runs in 4 innings. The Reds will face the Mets again on Friday and will attempt to even out the series. Finally, Friday night in Southern Ohio means one thing: high school football. We have teams of reporters traveling all over the region to give you updates about our favorite teams this match. At 7 o'clock, Logan Chieftains are hosting the Megs Marauders as they search for their first win of the season. Also, the Wahama White Falcons are traveling to Racine to face the Southern Tornadoes. Catch recaps of these games and more on this episode of Gridiron Glory. The show airs at 11:30 tonight here on WOUB. I'm Steven Hernandez, and that's it for sports. Back to you, Chelsea.
Thanks, Stephen. Listen to this. A Washington couple married for 75 years both bear the same names as Hurricane Harvey and Irma. When 104-year-old Harvey and 92-year-old Irma Schluter first heard the news, they thought their daughter was playing a joke on them. The two don't like watching the hurricane coverage. Irma says the hurricanes bother her because it's sad. The couple have 3 kids, which turned into a handful of grandkids. However, they've helped raise more than 100 foster children. Now look at final weather. Josh.
Thanks, Chelsea. Nothing too major going on here. 55 degrees, 53, just pretty cool, pretty steady throughout tonight, and then tomorrow in our extended, it's going to be pretty nice in the weekend, and then we're going to see some of that Harvey action later on this week. And that's all I got for weather. Back to you, Chelsea.
Thanks, Josh. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Chelsea Stick. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.
Buddy, I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night, live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.